Holy smokes, guys. Nancy Pelosi just lost it in front of millions of people after getting caught up in a lie about President Trump and January 6th. My goodness, this video is going to be about police chiefs unearthed footage of Nancy Pelosi taking responsibility on January 6th, as well as President Trump and MTG all going to town on Nancy and cooking her. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Also, guys, if you like having conversations like this, please consider liking and subscribing. Now, let's jump right in. So Nancy Pelosi tweeted this recently, and she really thought she did something. She said Donald Trump delayed deploying the National Guard on January 6th when our capital was under violent attack and lives were at stake. Now he's activating the DC Guard to distract from his incompetent mishandling of tariffs, healthcare, education, and immigration, just to name a few blunders. All right. And here's the thing about this post. All right. We're not just watching that politics happening on a large scale. We are witnessing the war of perception. Truth isn't just being held under attack here. Whenever we're talking about January 6th, we are seeing an attempt of truth being remodeled in real time, which is exactly why we are talking about this. But, you know, it's a funny thing about X, right? Because whenever you speak, that's the moment you invite a response. And this response was from Chief Stephen Sund, which if you didn't know the name before, you will. Now I'll go ahead and read his bio real quick. It says 30-year law enforcement veteran and former chief of police of the United States Capitol Police. My goodness. All right, check this out. I will read this to you because he absolutely made Nancy Pelosi lose her mind in this ratio, because check it out, her original tweet has over 23,000 likes with 6 million views, and his response tweet has over 40,000 likes, 40,001, right, and with only 1 million views. So that is very, very telling. Check it out. I will read all this. He says, "Ma'am, it is long past time to be honest with the American people. On January 3rd, I requested National Guard assistance, but your sergeant at arms denied it. Under federal law, I was prohibited from calling them in without specific approval. And that same day, Carol Corbin at the Pentagon offered National Guard support, but I was forced to decline because I lacked the legal authority. On January 6th, while the Capitol was under attack, and despite my repeated calls, your sergeant at arms again denied my urgent requests for over 70 agonizing minutes, running it up the chain for your approval. When I needed assistance, it was denied. Yet when it suited you, you ordered fencing topped with concertina wire and surrounded the Capitol with thousands of armed National Guard troops. My goodness. Let me also share this video of Nancy Pelosi, if that wasn't enough. All right. Now, most people haven't seen this video, okay, because they didn't play this video on CNN or NBC or MSNBC. It should have been played everywhere. But here is Nancy Pelosi essentially taking responsibility for January 6th. Check this out.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had, but they don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. We have.
Boom. There you have it, Nancy Pelosi, right there at the end, saying, and I take responsibility for them, for not having them just prepare for more. Talking about having the National Guard there. My goodness, there you have it, clear as day. Nancy Pelosi accepting responsibility, and then years later, shifting the gears and saying it was all President Trump. All right, only to get ratioed and obliterated in the comment section by Chief Stephen Sund. Holy smokes. Speaking of President Trump, check out what he just posted on Truth Social about Miss Pelosi. He writes, crooked Nancy Pelosi and her very interesting husband beat every hedge fund in 2024. In other words, these two very average minds beat all of the super geniuses on Wall Street, thousands of them. It's all inside information. Is anybody looking into this? She is a disgusting degenerate who impeached me twice on no grounds and lost. Then he says, how are you feeling now, Nancy? My goodness. And you know what? President Trump isn't alone here. Check out what Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say. She says, not only did Nancy Pelosi refuse President Trump's and Chief Stephen's son's request days before January 6 in 2021 to bring in the National Guard to the Capitol, after January 6, Nancy Pelosi brought in 30,000 National Guard troops and made them sleep on the floor in the parking garages for 5 months, doing absolutely nothing. Thread of photos below. Look at this. My goodness. So all this to say, Nancy Pelosi is out here having a pretty rough day, from getting accused of staging the whole thing to getting brutally fact-checked in front of millions. And you know what? We're still not done. All right, because Caroline Levitt also recently talked about this from the podium in the press briefing room. And I just love what she said. But you know, before I play that, also look at this from Patrick Bet David out here saying, what the heck is going on? How is this possible? He writes, Nancy Pelosi makes $174,000 a year, yet has a net worth of $413 million. Her portfolio did 78% return in 2024. She's either insider trading or the greatest investor of our era. My goodness. Now, check out this brutal obliteration.
Have you talked with the president about his position on the stock trading ban bill before Congress? He obviously had pretty loaded comments about Senator Hawley. There's some reporting that they've since spoken. What is his position on the current status of that bill?
The president has spoken to Senator Hawley, who called him, and the president took that call. As the president said in the Roosevelt Room yesterday, conceptually, he of course supports the idea of ensuring that members of Congress and United States senators who are here for public service cannot enrich themselves. And the reason that this idea to put a ban on stock trading for members of Congress is even a thing is because of Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she is rightfully criticized because she makes, I think, $174,000 a year, yet she has a net worth of approximately $413 million. In 2024, Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio, this was a fascinating statistic to me, grew 70% in 1 year in 2024, and her portfolio outperformed every single large hedge fund in that same year, and even more than doubled the returns of Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. So I think the president stands with the American people on this. He doesn't want to see people like Nancy Pelosi enriching themselves off of public service and ripping off their constituents in the process. As for the mechanics of the legislation and how it will move forward, the White House continues to be in discussions with our friends on Capitol Hill.
My goodness. You know, what's interesting about finances is that it really is one of the fastest ways to erode trust within leadership, especially when public service has somehow made you rich beyond your imagination, because this is just astonishing. $413 million. That is completely unimaginable. My goodness. But I don't think it would be fair to make this video without letting Nancy Pelosi speak for herself. All right. So here she is being asked directly if her husband has ever made a stock purchase based on information from her. This is an older clip, but I genuinely do not think enough people have seen this. Check this out.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
Wow. Did you see that? She says, no, absolutely not. Then says, thank you, pushes the mic away, and just starts to stumble away. My goodness. You know, I don't want to be here and say that she is guilty, but you could let me know what you think about all this. All right. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to the Adam C. Moreno Show. Please consider liking and subscribing if you made it this far, and I will see you all next time. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and have a great rest of your day. Episode's over. Already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.